Okay. Welcome to the Murray City Planning Commission meeting. It's Thursday, September 15th at 6:32. My name is Jake Pearson. I'm the vice chair. Jeremy Lowry, who is the chair, is not here today, so I'm going to be filling in, and I'm just going to invite my fellow commissioners and staff to jump in and help me out because I have no idea what I'm doing. So we're going to just follow the agenda that was put on the seat there. So first item of business is approval of minutes. Sorry, I thought you. Oh yeah, sure.
Participate virtually.
Yes, I will read that. How about that?
Okay.
Although I don't know who I'm reading it to. If they're not here, then how would they know? But yes, if you could silence your cell phones, and if you're viewing this meeting, if you're streaming this meeting, you can make public comment by emailing planningcommission@murray.utah.gov. When we do have public comments, we would like you to limit your comment to 3 minutes or less, and state your name and address for the record. Is that good?
Yep.
Awesome. Okay, now first business item is approval of minutes. So we have the minutes from our September 1st meeting.
It looks good to me.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the minutes from the September 1st, 2022 meeting.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second that.
Okay, we have
Just all in favor, say aye.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank
Aye.
you. Okay. Conflict of interest. Does anybody have conflict of interest for tonight's agenda
No.
items?
No.
I don't either. We have two findings of facts. We have a motion to approve these two findings of facts.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to move that we approve the finding of facts for the Step Above Dance Daycare conditional use permit. And I can't say that,
Marauder.
thank you. What Maren said, tattoo, conditional use permit.
Right. We have a motion by Commissioner Helmukevich. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
We have a second from Commissioner Richards. All in favor? Say aye.
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 Perfect. Now we've got our first conditional use permit. It's item agenda number 4. It's to allow RV trailer sales and storage in the CD zone. BD Paris LLC, and Seth is going to present to us. Oh, is the applicant here? The applicant is here. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Okay, so the first item is a request to tear down the cannery building and put a parking lot for RVs to sell them and display them. This is at 4373 South Main Street. It's just a look of what the cannery building looks like right now. It's in the CD zone right next to the TOD, or Transit Oriented Development Zone. Because of this, there's a requirement in the code that calls for a little bit past Main Street. You have to put in the requirements of TOD sidewalks and improvements. So as you can see here on the slide, it's referring to, well, I guess not there. It's 5.5 feet of curb and gutter and tree wells, and then 10 feet of sidewalk. And then aside from that, it's also 10 additional feet of landscaping as is required in the commercial district. So one of the requirements that staff has placed with approval of the CUP is that the applicant will have to consolidate the two lots. Right here in the blue, it outlines what the lots will look like after they're combined, and the dotted red line shows the line that will just be removed, and it'll all be one lot where they have their RVs for display. Here's a picture of what it looks like facing north towards the cannery building. This is facing east. And then facing west, you can kind of see what's already there with their parking lot and their RVs. This is the site plan that was provided to us. Whenever they submit, they will have to make changes to reflect the requirements that we have of bigger sidewalks and landscaping. So that will need to be updated, but this is just what was provided. And like I said, landscaping, it shows the tree wells and stuff. They They will also need to update the landscaping on Edison because there's not anything there right now. They'll have to put what's at the top left. So you see 4 trees required and some shrubs. So staff is recommending approval of this conditional use as long as they get a demolition permit before they tear down the building and put in the sidewalk improvements along Main Street that I spoke of. And then they will also have to consolidate the 2 lots that were in the picture and update the landscaping of Edison and then get any permits for signage or anything if they need anything like that. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Do you have any questions for Seth? Okay, thank you, Seth. Now, we'll invite the applicant up. Can the applicant please come up, state your name and address for the record?
Dave Frampton, 402 South, 10 West, Farmington, Utah, 84025.
Thank you for coming. Have you been able to review these conditions?
Yes,
Will we be able to comply with them?
absolutely.
Great. Anything additionally you want to tell the commission?
Looking to tear down a building and put in a parking lot. So
Okay.
Heard that before.
Does anyone have any questions for Dave?
No.
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
Now what do? I don't.
Public comment.
What's that?
Open the meeting for
Oh yeah.
Did he say he took?
Yeah.
Okay, I guess we'll open the meeting for public comment. If anybody has a public comment, they can come up to the podium. Seeing none, I think we'll close the public comment.
Anyone online?
Check just to make sure. Okay, so we have no public comments, so the public comment portion is closed. Any further discussion?
I have a. Do I need to clear with you guys, you good folks, if I can make a suggestion for the condition, a slight change in condition number 2 prior to making a motion, or just go ahead and make a motion?
I think, yeah. Present what you want to change.
It will either pass or not pass. Okay. Okay. Then, Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion that the Planning Commission approve a conditional use permit to allow RV sales and storage on the property addressed 4373 South Main Street, subjects to condition 1 through 5, with a small change to condition number 2 to read: the applicant shall provide the TOD sidewalk improvements along Main Street as outlined in Chapter 17.168 of Murray City Land Use Ordinance.
Perfect. We have a motion from Commissioner Volkevich. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. We have a second from Commissioner Patterson. Good. Will you do a roll call?
Okay, Commissioner Pearson,
Yes.
Commissioner Patterson,
Yes.
Commissioner Hacker,
Yes.
Commissioner Milkevich,
Yes.
Commissioner Richards.
Yes. Okay. Well, that passed, so congratulations. Okay, our next agenda item is Willowwood Professional Plaza. This is a conditional use permit to allow an electronic message center sign. Is applicant here? Awesome, thank you. Okay, Seth.
Okay, so it's just an application to tear down an existing monument sign and put up an electronic sign. This is the location of it. It's kind of on the east side of the city along 45th South. And it is zoned GO. So in this zone, it's a requirement that any type of electronic sign has to come to the Planning Commission and get approval for its electronic sign, as well as meet all the other additional requirements in the sign code. So here's an aerial view and the plan that they showed us, just showing that it's complying with some of the requirements as far as the site triangle and clear view triangle and all that stuff. The sign that they proposed does comply with all the requirements. There's a certain size requirement. I think they're limited in height and square footage, and they meet all this with this proposed sign. So on the left, you'll see a picture of the sign that's existing. They're going to tear that down and put in a new one. On the right, I just wanted to show it's a pretty big road. That's what's it's going to be facing that direction. So not much. I don't think it will affect much, just because there's a lot of lanes of traffic. Six lanes with a median. We did receive an email about potentially affecting residential areas. So I went down there and took some pictures of the surrounding residential areas. And I tried to show on the aerial view of where exactly I was taking it from. So the picture on the left is from this south side, right here along this wall. There's a 6-foot wall that's behind the homes. They won't even have a view of the sign from there. And then on the right, it's from the first home that's closest to it. They also have 6-foot fence, so they won't have any, effects from the sign. On this side, it's also right next to RM15 zone. Right here, you can see where I'm pointing the laser. So that's on the left, that's what it looks like. And then on the right side, that's the view from those multifamily units. So they have the wall, tall trees, it's on the other side of the building, and it's across very big parking lot. So it shouldn't have any major effect on them or their homes. So staff is recommending approval based on these conditions, that they follow all the requirements that I was saying about, height and square footage restrictions. One of the things we'll have to do is reduce their brightness after a certain time. I believe it's 10 p.m. And there's a way to measure that. They'll check that whenever they do inspections. The way it's oriented isn't going to affect traffic, but it is a condition that they can't orient it a different way. They have to show that it's not going past that certain brightness that I was mentioning. It has to maintain an image for a certain amount of time, I think, just so it won't be super distracting to anybody driving by. And they have the option to either turn it off after 10 p.m. or hold a static image. It's not brighter than a certain amount. And there's a formula in our code that they're required to follow. I just didn't include that here. And then when it talks about public service messages, that's referring to like weather and time and date and that kind of thing. So those are the conditions that we propose as staff, but we're recommending approval of this conditional use.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Perfect. So, would the applicant please come up to the podium and state your name and address for the record?
Ben Olson, 908 South, 2000 West, Layton, Utah.
Thank you. Were you able to review these conditions?
Yes, we both reviewed them.
And will you be able to comply with all 7 conditions? Do you have anything that you would like to add to?
Nope, happy to answer questions.
Any questions?
I guess my only question is just, have you been able to read the code and what's required of a sign? I figured you have, but since we didn't list all the details here, I just want to make sure you felt like you had the chance to read the details about dimming and time of day and public messages.
Yeah.
And you feel like
Yep.
okay.
And it states it pretty clear on that conditional use section. So
Excellent. Okay.
Any questions?
Are you, the pictures that we have in our packet here, I don't know, were those up on the slideshow? Anyway, it's a bad question. I was wondering if you'd ever have somebody on your sign with cavities.
line the sign, is that what you said?
Well, this is a
You're
beautiful
saying
one.
this lady
She just has some beautiful teeth, and I'm wondering if you'd ever show someone with cavities on the signboard.
Is that a good advertisement?
He just finished.
We can put anything you want on there.
Just had to ask.
Any other comments? No. Thanks, Mr. Olson. I appreciate it. Discussion or motion? Oh, yeah, sorry.
We had one.
We'd like, I'm gonna open it up for public comment, so if you wanna make a comment, please come up to the podium. If you could check to see if we have any comments electronically. Okay,
Oh, good question.
Because it was included in the packet.
so,
I have just clarification. So if it's in the packet, that means it's also published online in the packet, right? So it's accessible to everybody.
Yeah, that's correct. When we include it in the packet, it's been provided to us in enough time that you guys are able to see it. Really what we're trying to do is make sure that public comment gets read into the record. And so since the staff report is included in the record, it's read. So yeah, it's in there.
thank you. Okay, well, seeing no public comments, we'll close the public comment portion, and then we can have a discussion.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that the planning commission approve a conditional use permit to allow an electric sign at the property address 622 East, 4500 South, subject to conditions 1 through 7.
Perfect. We have a motion by Commissioner Hacker. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
We have a second by Commissioner Richards. Seth, did you roll call for us?
Commissioner Pearson,
Yes.
Commissioner Patterson,
Yes.
Commissioner Hacker,
Yes.
Commissioner Milkevich,
Yes.
Commissioner Richards.
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you. The motion
Only if
passes.
you never show any cavities on yours.
Congratulations. Thank you. Okay. Do we have any other business?
Just let you know, we're planning on having a planning commission on the 6th. So if you don't anticipate being there, let us know. You're not going to be there.
I'll be
Okay. So if you'll write that down for me, Seth, so we
Is
don't
this
forget.
Thursday.
The first Thursday, so it's the 6th, I think. Yeah, I think. Did you have a question?
No, I was just thinking it's the next week's fall break. So
Okay,
I think we're
perfect. Yep. And so, yeah, that one it'll be a fun one. It'll be different. So
good. What does that mean?
there's just. Do you remember the UEA building and how I had to go through like 15 steps to do things? Well, it's like that light. So, it's the point at 53rd. They're doing a subdivision amendment, and then they're going to be condominiumizing
Okay,
the office portion.
because they're getting ready to bring forth.
Oh, maybe, yeah, but that's coming up.
Interesting.
But he's doing some cleanup work, so that's going to be part of it. And then, yeah, so we have a few things.
There won't be public outcry yet because he's just trying to rezone things.
Not rezone,
Not rezone.
public outcry for rezone, but just subdivisions. Yeah, subdivision should be okay. Subdivision amendment even, so it's even lighter. So yeah, other than that, pretty easy. So nothing really else.
Anything else? Anybody else?
Motion to adjourn at 6:50 p.m.
Second?
That was second.
Okay, we're adjourned.
Awesome.
That was looking. Is that the fastest yet?